Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians cast, episode 980. I am your host, Matrixlord212, and I'm with Mike D. What's up, Mike D?
Shit, thin eyes.
And I pro back and quoted you, bro. You saw that? She's like, shit!
Yeah, I was laughing when I saw that. I was like, man, shit. I wonder if that's proof Moffat watches your cast, because he's going, shit.
It might be. It might be. You never know. So, I got to tell you, well, I don't know if you saw my reaction. Did you see my reaction to
I haven't. No, I mean, I just got done watching the episode. I TiVoed the episode earlier today. I just got done watching it like 10 minutes ago, and it's midnight my time. So, no, yeah. I haven't even asked you what you thought of it at all. I mean, have I? Wait, I don't even know if you like it or don't like it. You just contacted me.
I loved it, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. But enough of me, because I said enough on the other cast.
Okay.
What did you think of it?
Well, like I called the other day, I told you it would be the better of the 3 that we've had. Is that not true?
Yes, it is true.
And I thought the effects were great. I think the period attire that they were wearing, excuse me, the costume department did a great job. They did a great job with the cinematography of that episode. With all that being said, I still think it was like mediocre.
Oh, okay. But it was still better than the mediocre of Pilot and Smile.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm being honest. I'm not fucking around or joking or anything. I mean, I really think it doesn't mean that I thought it was shit. I thought there's still mediocrity, but I see that they did Capaldi and Pearl, yeah, thank you. I was thinking I keep wanting to call her Bill all the time. Their chemistry really was solid in this episode.
I agree.
And that was good, because that's a good portent to what is to come with things between the two of them, as far as the chemistry between the two that we were hoping would develop rather quickly, considering we only had 12 episodes to deal with this series. But I think that, like I said, the period attire, all of that stuff was great. I mean, it was just, this was one of those like C-level or D-level villains, and just a real nothing sort of story.
Right.
And I mean, I understand, and I appreciate that they were doing at least something a little different with things, but it just seemed like one of those, it's like a B story to like you know, Star Trek episodes had like an A story and a B story going on concurrently, and it just seemed like a B story sort of thing going on. But I mean, I wasn't really, I would have to say I wasn't bored with it. I just, Capaldi and Pearl Mackie kept it entertaining to watch. And again, you know, Capaldi was great. The one thing I noticed about this episode too is the music score was very driving. They had a very driving beat. What I mean by that driving too is it was propelling you forward through the story. You know, there was a lot of this
like new music compared to the reused other music in the other episodes, kind of, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't pay that close of attention. I don't know if it was something they'd used before or not, but it's, you know, like if you watch like The Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight,
Hans Zimmer, right?
Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Yeah. They had that.
Yeah.
It's like a pulse, sort of soundtrack pulse, like heartbeat going on under what the action was going on. That kind of would be amped up at certain times, but it kept propelling you through the story. I did notice that.
Yes. I saw shades of Rings of Akatan. Because it was like, you know, when they're in the town square and all the different things to buy and everything, and she's like, oh, you've been here before. He's like, absolutely, I've been here for a couple times. You know, it just seems similar with certain things, but unique in other ways, which, you know, I liked it. Again, I think it's a dramatic improvement over the first two, and that high marks is Pearl Mackie, because I feel that she really gave me something to look at with her dialogue with the doctor, with her questioning and her emotions behind people dying, and then she started getting nasty with him, and he was all calm and cool about it, and then he tried to be like hip and he's like, laters and awesome, and she's like, just stop, so.
Well, the character interplay and dialogue was great. But I think the same thing could have been accomplished if they just had an episode of the two of them sitting in a park bench, just talking back and forth. Because, I mean, really, like, everything else going on behind the scenes was really just an aside.
Right.
I mean, the villain, the guy was there, and of course, the one thing that was entertaining, I guess, or not one thing, but one of the things, it was the doctor slugging the guy for basically insulting Bill.
I like that.
And I wasn't expecting to see Buckwheat from the Little Rascals in this episode earlier.
I wasn't expecting to see a kid die. And I'm like, oh, that's awkward feeling with that. I mean, found the kid's hat, and I'm like, ew, boy.
The creature.
That was kind of like one of those cringy moments in history. Like, oh, yeah, kill the kid. Who's hungry? It's like, oh, boy.
Well, and I was going to kick out of like this, like, Bill, do something about this, and how could you, blah, blah, blah. All this drama, it's like, shut up, bitch.
What about Nardole? We got to see him with his nonsense, and then the Vault.
With Nardole's nonsense. Yeah, Nardole's kind of he's kind of like a fussy mother hen now for the Doctor.
Yeah, trying to keep him focused on this threat that's behind the Vault.
Well, yeah, what the fuck was that all about? Educate me as to what you think is going on with all that shit.
It's somebody that knows the Doctor behind the Vault, that is more mad that he has a companion now. Somebody that's affected by him having a companion. Is it Missy? I mean, Missy killed Osgood when she thought she was going to be the companion. I mean, is it that? Because again, this will be the first companion since Missy hooked him up with Clara. So, I mean, is she angry?
What if it is Clara? He's got locked up.
I mean, I don't know if it would be Clara, but I would think it'd be a villain.
Well, you're saying like it's somebody that resents him because he's got a companion now. What's that based on?
Well, when Nardole was talking to the thing, saying he's got a companion again or whatever, the thing got crazy, started banging even more.
Well, it was knocking. How many knocks was it that we had with the Master with John Sim?
It was 4.
4. Okay, there's 3.
It was 3 and 3. Yeah. So, and then 3, and then well, I mean, it's if he, I don't know if it was a set of 4 threes, maybe that was it. I don't know.
Maybe it was that way. I mean, you may be onto something with that, because that could have been the case to throw off the viewer as to whatever, But I mean, that seems very specific knocking. We already have knocking referenced with John Sims the Master, so
yeah. But you know what they could have did? They could, because when John Sims Master banged the drum with the thing, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? This thing is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 6, 9, 12, 12 divided by 3,
Well, there's a reason.
4 knocks. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
there's a reason it's knocking 3 times, obviously, because if you're just randomly knocking, you would have differing results from the knocking.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. But I'm thinking it was 12 times total, which could be
12 for generations.
You know what? That could be. I didn't even think of that. Good points. Could it be the Time Lords? Like the Pocket Universe or something? Maybe they're in a, they're trapped in there, or I don't know. I mean, it's got to be somebody. I'm not thinking it's a whole bunch of things. I'm thinking it's one thing, like one.
Well, so they're keeping something behind there, and we don't know what the structure is behind. Like if it's something like a time bubble or something. But it's something that the Vault is keeping in there. But I mean, it's something that. Why would they not eradicate it if it's a threat?
It's not a thing that's trapped in a room where it could die without food. It's a thing where it's there, and then behind it could be another universe or world, or and that's the only way to get to Earth is this vault thing that's blocking them or something. So it's not in the yeah.
So there may be a slight. I don't think there's really a delay, but I guess I'm just kind of formulating thought here as we're discussing this. But I mean, could that be that they're if it seems like if it's something like the Cybermen or something that they would just eradicate it unless for some reason they had some purpose to specifically see. I get the feeling that whatever is behind that is being housed because the Doctor and Nardal are aware what their quote-unquote plan is that they're waiting on has to be executed at a particular time when a particular series of events are obvious to them are occurring. So I think that, or even like say, for example, if they got Missy and they know Missy's got something intricately to do with the overall plot of what happens, so they've kidnapped Missy and they're keeping Missy behind that in the vault until they know that time, the timey-wimey thing, until time catches up with the situation currently where they can actually open the vault and allow time to play out the way it's supposed to play out. But they have to make sure that she's there or whatever players are involved in the scenario are there, but they're being housed. Because obviously if they needed to be eradicated by the Doctor and Nardal, they would be eradicated. So they're being housed there. They're being caged for some reason.
Yes.
So whatever they've grabbed, even if they grab Mondasi and Cybermen for some reason, say if they went to Mondas and grab Mondasi and Cybermen for some reason, because we know that those are going to be playing in the story.
Yes.
So whatever's being housed there is adversarial to the Doctor and Nardal, but it's being housed there for a purpose because they know something's coming.
Now I wanted to show you something that I don't know if it's related or not, but I found the calendar, this year's calendar, very interesting.
Oh, did you buy this today?
Yes, I bought this yesterday. But what's interesting about this calendar is...
Well, I mean, did you buy it
yesterday? I bought it literally yesterday. So, but what I'm trying to say is that, of course, with the first Doctor, you got the Cybermen there, right? And then the second Doctor, you have the Cybermen there. And of course, I mean, not that it means anything, but I'm just saying, it's funny how, of course, it's not going to be here with John Pertwee. Of course, we got this,
Do they have the Pertwee Cybermen episodes?
That's what I just said. We're not going to have it with Pertwee. What someone said in the cast. But when Capaldi, we have Missy and the Cybermen, So it's, of course, we get that. So,
it's very Cyberman-centric.
Yes. That's what I think. The Cybermen appear, they don't appear in Tom Baker's photo, but they do appear in Peter Davison, in Colin Baker,
Sylvester McCoy,
and Sylvester McCoy. Of course, not in 8. Of course, not in 9. But they appear with David Tennant, and we don't see them with Matt Smith. But picture. But it's just interesting how I don't think it's I don't know if it's related. It could be Quinky Dink, but they knew it was going to happen, But I'm surprised with Colin Baker's photo they didn't put the Valiant in there. Very shocked about that, but that's weird.
So what do you think? What do you think's behind the door of the vault?
I think that John Sims' master is behind the vault, and that he put him behind the vault because he must have encountered him, and he don't know how to deal with it because he doesn't want him to encounter Missy and cross the timeline. I guess he just feels that. I'm thinking that's what it is, because I think that when it opens, it's going to be the master. He's going to turn around, whatever. And it's going to be like, oh my God moments, That's what I think it is. I think that.
So why is he knocking 3 times?
I don't know, but it could be a thing that the master knows, about the future and wants to alter it, and maybe the Time Lords are help us out with this and lock him in there and keep him there so you don't encounter his other self. I'm thinking, because that's the thing. Whenever there was a situation when the Time Lords first made the Doctor encounter his other selves, like the second Doctor and the first Doctor, they did it because it was an emergency with Omega, Omega. And they said they were always worried because if something happened and they died, it would screw up the timeline, So whenever the Doctor encounters other self, it was very rare, but it was the universe was in peril that it had to happen, or in the case with Moffat, it was an accident, and the fifth bumped into the 10th. Just like when the 10th and the 11th was with the War Doctor for the Time War. So,
but if that was the Master, I would think it'd be like funnier for him to be knocking 4 times just to mock the Doctor and say, "Hey, motherfucker, remember I'm the one that caused your regeneration."
Right, but the thing is that but the thing is they don't want the audience to know that easily. So he's not knocking 4 times because again they wanted to keep the mystery to the audience. But I think it's the fact that the Master will alter the timeline, knowing that he skipped or cheated or something, and he's crossed paths with his own timeline. You can't. That's the whole rule. You can't really cross paths with your own timeline. So and he's doing that. Maybe he's just saying F it because I'm crazy. I'm gonna screw you up and my other self up and whatever. Like that's
when did the Time Lords? They imparted that upon him when he was a kid, right? The thing about the bump, 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 bump.
Yes,
Okay.
But I think that ended when time caught up to it. So when that moment had passed, the drums were gone. That's what I feel.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that wasn't like during just John Sims' era as the Master.
Well, they say that it's all the Masters, but I don't.
I was thinking maybe like 3 knocks indicates like some significance as opposed to 4 knocks when he was John Sim.
Right.
But I'm not sure if I don't remember because it's been so long ago, so many episodes back, so many years ago, what the significance of the 4 knocks. I mean, I know it indicated Tennant's regeneration sort of thing, but I mean, as far as
the significance of the knocks is like in the Bible where I guess it's Judas. No, that's not Judas. Is John the Baptist? I'm trying to remember who was John the Baptist denied Christ.
No, it was Judas.
I'm sorry, Judas denied Christ 3 times, or was it something else about the crow clucked 4 times, or when he denied him 3 times, or something like that? It was like, so I think that Moffat took something towards that effect, and not Moffat, Russell T. Davis.
They're grabbing from the Bible now.
Well, I mean, it's their own twist on things. I don't know. He did mention, Jesus in his last one.
Yeah, but what's with the 3 knocks? I mean, that's that is very precise. Like, there's something that is a hint. They're throwing you a bone there with something with 3 knocks. I mean, what is that about? Like,
it could be. You know what it could be? It could be that the thing is trapped in a distilled dimension where time is slower, and while we're hearing our interpretation of 3 knocks, it's 4 knocks because he's maybe in a frozen, detached, slower version of our reality, maybe. So when he goes ja 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 ja, it's ja ja ja, and then the last part is part of the other thing, but it's separated. Like, in other words, like maybe there's got to be a thing where the thing can't really move like we could move, because besides being trapped behind the vault, he's like very slow to time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm trying to?
No, I get what you're saying. Something I just thought of though is that 3 knocks, could that be indicative of? We know that Delgado's Master was during the 3rd Doctor's era. 3 knocks, 3rd Doctor, and we know Delgado, right, could be one of the Masters.
Right. I mean, it could be Delgado's Master, or again, it could be 4 knocks, but our interpretation of it is 3 because the thing behind the door could be knocking 4 times, but by the time the knocks reach the other surface on the other side, it's 3 333, but it could be 444.
Yeah, but I mean,
you know,
I don't see them explaining something like that. That seems like a little bit too specific. That they would like when I say too specific, I mean like too
scientific-y, like old.
Well, like it would go over it would go over people's heads. Like they would like they'd be like, oh, okay, well, whatever, you know. I'm knock knock knock. We've got the one episode that's called Knock Knock, right? Or what's the name of that one?
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with I think we think.
Yeah. What's the name of the episode?
Knock Knock. So
you've got knock knock knock, and then you've got a knock knock.
I mean, did the thing knock 12 times?
Well, the thing is, you have 4 knocks with the end of time. You've got 3 knocks in this episode. You've got an episode called Knock Knock. So you have 4 knocks, then you have 3 knocks, then you have 2 knocks with the title of that episode. So are we going backwards with knocking with the master?
Or are they talking in code like Moffat is?
Well, I was thinking Morse code possibly, because I don't know what knock 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 is in Morse code, but I was thinking like if it's like some sort of thing, because what the episode Knock Knocks with the wood lice, right?
Yes.
Okay, and didn't somebody posit that they believe that whoever the actor is that's in that is actually a version of the master?
I mean, that's what.
Or is that conjecture?
That's conjecture. What I think Connor said, or somebody said that it would be cool if that person was a master. I don't know who said that. Somebody said it in the community. I know that. Because I guess he's a big actor over there or whatever. So.
Yeah. And that's not saying that that's not going to be the case, but.
Well, I mean, why don't we think about the episodes themselves? Like, pilot is one word, right? So if we add all the words together from the thing, how many? I mean, and say that each word is a knock. I mean, maybe we're getting too crazy. Really.
What's the fuck? I know you lost me already.
Maybe we're overthinking it. Like, you know, I mean, maybe it's just a knock is a knock.
No, but it's kind of weird that it's kind of odd though that I'm not saying there's anything to this, because see, a lot of times the problem with things is you see patterns in things where there are not consciously
there's nothing there, right. Right.
But I mean, it's interesting that we know the Master's in this. We know John Sims in this. When I say this, the series, we've got 4 knocks. Then in this episode, there's something behind the vault that's knock knock knock.
Well, let's think about that, right?
We go from 4 knocks to 3 knocks, and then we have an episode called Knock Knock that's 2 knocks. So we keep minusing 1 knock as we go closer to the end of the series.
Or it could be like this: we heard 3 knocks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so forget about that now. Pilot is 1 knock, right?
Okay.
Smile is another knock, so that's 2 knocks so far. And Thin Ice is 2 knocks, so that's 4. There's 2 words.
Well,
that's 4 knocks. Okay. 4 knocks with 3 episodes. Okay? So now the 5th episode is what? Oxygen?
Yeah. Give me the episode titles real quick. Just
I don't even have it. Hold on.
All right. Yeah, pull them up because I want to see if there's some linkage here. Like if the episode, you were talking about the episode titles seem kind of lame, but I'm wondering if like maybe
that's a knock. It's considered like a.
Well, no. I'm wondering if each episode title lends to the overall arc of what's going on this season.
Yeah, let me see.
Because you have something knocking, and there's knock knock. We have obviously Thin Ice, and we know the Cybermen. They're associated with, especially if it's Mondasian Cybermen. With ice, 10th planet.
Nice. Let me see. Okay, so we have Oxygen, which is 1 knock. If it was a knock, I'm saying.
Just the episode titles. What are they?
Extremis is the 6th episode. And the Pyramid at the End of the World. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Um,
What episode's the pyramid at the end of the world?
that's 7.
Okay, keep going with the episode titles.
Episode 8 is The Lie of the Land. Episode 9 is The Empress of Mars. Episode 10 is The Eaters of Light.
No, I was going with themes because I was like knowing that the Cybermen are going to be showing up and that they were talking about the First Doctor and the regeneration. You know, Extremis is the point close to death. I was wondering if all of these were like words that were descriptive of like the overall theme of like this whole series.
What it is, because I'll tell you why.
No, because I mean, like the Doctor being Extremis, like close to death, like he, you know, regeneration. Then you got like thin ice, meaning like, you know, 10th planet Mondes.
But the thing is, if you look at the last word of every title, and we'll start from the bottom, the Doctor falls, right? So if you just look at falls, and then you look at world enough and time, that's 11. So if you just look at time,
are those official titles?
Yeah.
So the Doctor falls. Is that what it is? Like I've fallen, I've fallen and can't get up. One of those.
Yes, like he does every Doctor falls. Right.
I've fallen.
Right. The 11th fell, and the 10th.
Why is he fucking fallen? Tom Baker fell.
They don't want to do anything different, so they want to make it that the Doctor each.
Well, I love how Tom Baker fell off a fucking satellite, and Colin Baker fell off a bicycle and had to regenerate.
Yeah, I know. All right, so the Doctor falls. The world enough and time. That's a weird title for 11. World enough and time.
And when.
World enough and time.
And okay.
The Eaters of Light. The Empress of Mars. The Lie of the Land. The Pyramid at the End of the World.
See, I think The Lie of the Land, for some reason something pops into my head. Is that, what episode number is that? The Lie of the Land?
8.
Okay. Is this where, like, we get this deal about the Doctor being under a delusion? That maybe the lie of the land is that people think they're on Earth or on Mondes or something, and that's the lie.
That was another thing that wasn't proven yet either. It could be that the vault gets broken in after Extremis with Missy. Maybe Missy was behind the vault. She breaks out, and then through the vault there's a pyramid. I don't know. Because it's supposed to be a 4-parter.
Well, wait a minute. What if that kind of made me think? What if the vault was actually a doorway to, like,
the pyramid
dimension or something? And he's holding. Could he be holding himself back? Could the Doctor actually be behind that?
Could be the Valyard that people were talking. That's a rumor too.
Well, I mean, I'm not going that far out there, but I mean, like, because I don't know, that whole vault door thing's kind of weird, because they don't seem to be afraid of it. They seem to be just kind of like entertaining the fact of just keeping it caged. Like, they don't seem to be afraid of anything.
Right.
So it's kind of like they're knocking, just like, hey, I'm still here, asshole. You know, like that kind of knocking. But what did Norman say? What was it? I'd have to watch it again.
He was saying something about talking to the thing that the Doctor has a companion or something, or, you know, something about that, to that effect.
But he's not supposed to leave Earth.
I mean, I guess. I don't know who sets this rule thing up. That's what I'm getting a little disturbed by.
But Nardal did indicate, one of the lines he said was something about ever since he got put back together.
He didn't want to be put back together, he said. He said, I never asked to be put back together. But he did it, you know, whatever. I got to watch that part again now. Maybe it's just... Maybe it's connected with Missy. Maybe Missy's behind them. I'm not sure. I think is gonna be night and day this season. Like, now that we got rid of the first two you know, and now we're up to 3. I think that the whole season's going to change. You know, I feel, at least I hope I'm right. Just can't wait to get up to the 6th episode. That's when Missy is, I think so. But the ratings have, the ratings haven't been like, oh my God moments. You know, it's like there. So yeah. I don't know. It's not like anything to cry home or to write home about. I mean,
well, it was really interesting. I mean, although the episode never came anywhere near the talents of Wing Chiang, like as far as like anything, other than the appearance and the feel of the episode, they did a great job with the atmosphere and the time period, the costumes. All of that was like spot on, and I really enjoyed that. That was really fun watching the Doctor kind of go back into like a period piece with things.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
so I liked it more than you would like it. I mean, you gave it a what? What'd you rate it? Actually, I don't even know what you rated it. Did you rate it?
Did I rate it? Like
yeah,
number one.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, I didn't give it a number. I just said what I liked about it and what I didn't like about it. Yeah. But
hard to rate things. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem with like these episodes, they like, I see what they're going for. They just like seem like they're not like there's a lot going on as far as like what they're trying to do, but like there's not a lot that is actually going on.
Do you feel like these are filler episodes to the main thing? Like,
well, like they seem like vignettes rather than episodes. It's like, you know, we have an hour-long episode of this going on, but nothing really goes on. It's like, you know, the Doctor frees a ocean creature under the river, and it's like that's it. It's like, I mean, nothing like the villain really there is just kind of serving just to kind of push the plot ahead a little bit. Like, we don't even really know that much about this guy. What is it, Sutcliffe?
I mean, he just, I don't know, whatever he... Do you feel that it's like fillers, though, until we get to the main thing, like with Missy?
Yeah, and I don't understand why they're
filler stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem a little odd they're starting with, like, such weak episodes. Because I will say that I think that the season will get really good.
Yeah, I feel that way, too, but I don't know how they go backwards and they make the first 2 episodes, like, the shittiest.
Well, I think they're trying to start light, because I think they're going to build to a point where, you know, have we had verified that Bill's actually going to shoot the Doctor, causing the, you know?
No, that's not confirmed. That's just what people in our community were saying. Like, yeah, we don't know that for sure.
Well, I'm trying to feel like if they're trying to get you to really like Bill, and they're having to like start things light so that you get to like her, you're comfortable with her, and then something bad happens in the Cyberman episodes where she gets converted and the Doctor's like, you know, fuck this, you know, this is bullshit, and then goes on a fucking tirade, and that leads to his regeneration.
Mm.
Was it confirmed that what we saw in the with Capaldi's first appearance, where we see his eyes, that the regeneration?
That's not confirmed either.
Sounds like there's a lot of like just.
There's a lot of bullshit going on. Yeah. I mean, again, we don't know if half this stuff is true. You know.
Maybe the first Doctor's behind the vault, and he's just like banging with his cane on the door because he's old and crotchety or something, and he's like, "Let me out, boy."
I don't know. That's weird too. You know, I mean, you know, at least I was in a situation when I saw this where I really enjoyed it compared to other weeks. Because other weeks I was just like, oh, I couldn't even watch, like, just try to watch and smile again. It was like pulling teeth to try to get me to finish it. I was like, oh, you know, it was like hard. It was hard. I mean, I got to tell you, I'm not going to lie. That was like one of the episodes I won't watch again.
Well, I know the local PBS station here tonight, they had Black Orchid, and that hasn't been everyone's cup of tea in the classic series, but
Right.
you know, it's something that I would watch, and it just seems
Oh,
like
I don't care about that. I watch that, but
it's reminded me kind of an episode like that, like what we've had, where it's just kind of like a thrown out there episode where nothing really goes on.
you know what it is? It's the fact, for me, I have a problem with the Doctor, in my eyes, shitting on the human race. Like, yeah, I'm just giving you to the robots now, and you got to pay them rent. And I'm like, how the hell do they know what money is? And they're robots. It's like,
Well, do you
why
think
would money mean anything to them? That's stupid.
I don't know if you've talked about this yet, but I mean, has he been waiting on Earth this long because he's waited for the perfect student to be a conduit for carrying out the plan?
No, he's been there over 50 years guarding this vault. Which,
well, no, I'm saying, but I'm saying Bill. Like he's been waiting for Bill. He's been waiting for that.
That's not true either. I mean, maybe. I mean, that's,
well, I'm not
that
saying
hasn't.
it's
No, but that hasn't been confirmed either. I mean, I think it's just a coincidence that while he's doing this thing with the vault, he bumped into a student that, he got caught his eye.
Or he could have bumped into the right student that he's been waiting to bump into, because it's odd that he left Bill with this decision, with Earth. You make the call in this. So it's like he's testing her almost to see, like, it's almost like he knew how things were going to shake out, but he wanted to see if she was going to make the right choice. Because remember, he said his job is as her teacher. So he's grooming her for something.
He's quizzing her to see if she makes the right choice, not necessarily he's going to do what she wants him to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're mentoring someone and you put them in a situation where you already know the future and you know how things are going to shake out, but you want to see if they're going to make the right choice and they're the right person, the timey-wimey thing. And he's testing Bill, because Bill's going to be like a major factor possibly in like the key, so to speak, to this whole story arc.
Huh? Listen, we can only hope that this season turns out to be one of the best. We always want it to be one of the best, but most of the time we don't get our way with things. So I'm hoping.
Or Moffat maybe just like leaving nuggets out there that just never get picked up and put in a basket.
I don't know. With him, it's just weird. Like, he's leaving, but then he's concerned with having the Weeping Angels in Series 11. But, like, why do you care now? Like, when you're doing it, you're doing it. Like, so if you want to have the Weeping Angels in your last season, you would have the Weeping Angels in your last season. So what do you give a crap about Series 11 now? Like, why would you want to go that extra mile to get someone to do what you want them to do when you're not even with them anymore? Like, that's either you write for Doctor Who continually, like here, Chris Chibnall, I'm putting a script. I mean, he used to bust Russell T Davies's chops. I don't understand why he can't write an episode. And then all of a sudden he makes the same thing. I'm never coming back to Doctor Who again. Yet, he made a comment about the Weeping Angels, that somebody had a good story that he wants, even though he's not going to be showrunner anymore. And he made a comment about, what was the other comment? Something about the Paternoster gang. How people still want a spinoff. I guess the BBC still wants a Paternoster gang spinoff. I guess he would do it. And it's a job for him, but I guess he doesn't want to do it. Still.
Yeah. What's the next episode? Oxygen?
No, Knock Knock.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So,
because Oxygen's like a zombie episode, right?
I believe so.
According to the synopsis.
Yes.
Something about air being precious and doled out to certain people. Oxygen.
I guess. My thing is, why waste Capaldi's last episode on going back to the 50th, I mean, that's kind of like Matt Smith's Doctor had the last equation with the sonic screwdriver, so you really didn't need. I think Capaldi being there was just to see where it went, or to save it or something, because they didn't need his equation. So I mean, I want Capaldi's regeneration to do with Capaldi, not necessarily a previous storyline. I mean,
well, you said that You said that Moffat stated that he was disappointed by his own participation in what ended up being the 50th. Is he
Correct.
trying
Like, well, the thing was, he said that he hinted that because he pissed his friends off, and he thinks he pissed Russell T Davies off. That he basically, ruined Russell T Davies's whole story arc. He said, "Oh, you never know. Maybe I'll just undo everything I did and just leave it like that." But wouldn't that create more? Like if Capaldi went there to stop all the other doctors from saving Gallifrey, wouldn't that be bad? I mean, to undo it. I mean, and then it would be a paradox with that would create a paradox that could destroy the universe type of thing, because that we were hearing hints about that. I mean, there was a rumor out there from a source that said that one of the big storylines that Chibnall could do is the fact that after the Christmas special, the universe, because of a massive paradox, gets destroyed. But right before it gets destroyed, that the Doctor escapes into a parallel universe to save himself. So when he regenerates, he's in a new universe, and he doesn't exist there. Neither do the Time Lords. So he's like an anomaly of time in a way. He shouldn't exist. Jordan shouldn't exist. Half the villains don't exist in this universe. Nobody knows who he is, and he's on Earth, so it's like a reboot, And I heard that this was, a rumor that Chibnall was kind of afraid to do, because that would mean that all the history, because it's a new universe, is out the window, and it would just be like that universe is destroyed, or maybe it's not destroyed yet, or something. So I don't know what they're going to go through it, but if Capaldi does undo what the doctors did, like his doctor, then that would create a paradox. And there could be serious problems with the universe if that happens. So I don't know. Although he could be going there to save them from the bubble that somebody saved them. So,
well, could one of the universes be that Mondus was the planet that was saved and Earth was destroyed?
Well, the thing is, I watched 10th Planet, it was destroyed. Mondus, it was destroyed in the episode. At the end of the episode, it was destroyed. I mean, are you going to say that they did a 50th and they took their planet out of sync in the last second too? Now he's copying off himself.
But I mean, we know that the first Doctor. Well, but we know that they do that. They could retcon it where they do something where they change what happened in 10th Planet.
I mean, the only thing is that there was a reason why the Doctor was ill, and maybe this was the 50th. Not 50th. If he is with Capaldi in this and he gets hurt, that would explain why he's so messed up in the 10th Planet, and why he knows about the Cybermen when you never knew he encountered them before. So, which will be interesting, because if that's the case, that means that he knew about the Cybermen before he knew about the Daleks the first time. Like, before he even met them, he knew the Cybermen. So that's weird. That was never explained. But maybe this could be explained with Moffat's Christmas special. He sees them for the first time with Capaldi, and then he's put back into that point in time, but he's hurt, or he's ill, or he's worn out. And then he's like, yes, I know, that's the Cyber. And they're like, how do you know these people? So it could be that. I don't know. Interesting. So,
well, they're definitely waiting for something to happen in their timeline. We know the vault's going to be opened and whatever's in there is going to get out. It's just a matter of, like, is it Missy? Is it John Sim? Is it the Cybermen? Is it whatever?
Is it Gallifrey? Maybe that's the pocket universe that they're trapped in. Maybe that, in this point of view, it's before Gallifrey got out of the bubble, and this is him having them trapped in a bubble that leads to there. I mean,
well, would it be Missy? Like, we've seen Missy in the trailer where she's like kind of like strewn out on top of that whatever she's laying on there, Could that be like a room they have her isolated in, like in a bubble or something?
Could be. Could be. I just don't know why he's there for 50 some odd years. That's kind of weird, don't you think that's weird?
Well, yeah, that's because the obviously the main part of the whole equation is being left out, and it would all make sense feasibly,
Yeah.
even though we're talking about Moffat here. I mean, I'm going to go on the fact that there's a reason for all of this, and it's not just there just to lead people on a wild goose chase, but that could very well be the case. Where we're looking,
it could be that you don't explain shit. That's what it could be. Like,
that would never happen with Moffat, Joe. Come on.
no. I don't know. Why do I feel, tell me, why do I feel that after Christmas, this isn't the last we've seen of Moffat with Doctor Who? I don't know why. I have this feeling that he'll be back in a big way. I don't know why. If something happens, will he return as showrunner years later? I mean, I don't know. I'm getting this weird impression. Because he's leaving, and he's saying one thing, but now it's like he's having regrets. Like, oh, I want to have this, the Weeping Angels. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do it. But you can't. So, like, what are you doing? You know, it's like, are you having second thoughts? Like, you know how Matt Smith had said, oh, yeah, I screwed up. I should have stayed with Doctor Who. Like, is he having, like, oh, I shouldn't leave, really?
Well, I mean, is he saying I'd like to do this, or I would have liked to do this?
I mean, no, not that he would have. He says he's trying to get, I guess, Chibnall to do the Weeping Angel story. And also that he doesn't like, he wants another season of Class, because he worked on that, but he wants the Weeping Angel storyline resolved. He doesn't want to have it with that the Weeping Angels destroy the Earth. Like, it was just left like that with Class. Like, that he would actually want them to do the season to clear it up, regardless of ratings or whatever. So, I mean, you get the impression that they wanted to use the Weeping Angels, and he said okay, but he wanted it resolved, not left hanging. And he usually the one that leaves things hanging, but he can't leave it like that with Class.
Could the knocks indicate individuals, like 3 people, like knock, knock, knock? Like, because I guess, like, whoever's behind the vault can't be heard necessarily, but maybe the sound could be heard. Like, they're trying to communicate through, like, knock, 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 like indicating 3 of something.
Like Bill Potts Nardle? Bill Potts Nardle? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm saying it could be like, you know, the power of the 3. Knock, knock, knock.
No, I mean, I don't know why that. I mean, isn't this thing like the Pandorica?
Well, like I've said before, there's a reason for 3 knocks. I mean, that's specific for some reason. That's indicative of something that they are alluding to, that they're trying to, like, tease you with 3 knocks. I mean, maybe in the episode Knock Knock, we will get a better idea of what the knocks are indicative of. You know, maybe Knock Knock's got nothing to do with the wood lice. It's got to do with something that occurs in that episode that's got to do with knocking. You know, like, you know, where, like, on the surface, you're thinking knock, knock, you know, like you're thinking of a wooden door or somebody knocking under the floorboard.
It's true that the knock, knock might have to do with, like, a 5-minute thing to do with the vault, rather than the whole episode of the wood lice. Right. Could be that. I don't know. But it is more interesting than this, you know, other crap going on, like this Volt thing. If they did a story about that.
Well, why is it glowing red too? Or is that just the lighting on it?
I mean, it's got all these safeguards and weird stuff on there. But why does Nardle know about that stuff? Like, I mean, like, what the hell is his purpose? Does he really need it?
Yeah, and they don't seem to be very concerned about what's behind there. They just seem to be kind of like, because they seem to be very jokey, like what we saw in the pilot when they were down there, like kind of being fussy over the whole thing about checking the vault, and they didn't seem like they were like overly, like, really concerned about it.
Well, he was in this episode, Nardle. He was shitting a brick. He ran away. Got scared. He's like, oh no.
If I had to say, I would say it's involving the master for some reason.
Yeah. Might be.
I want to see the tissue compression eliminator come back.
Yeah, right. With
Maybe
the thing
like
wrapped around the doll's neck. Yeah.
They'll shrink Nardole down to like a pocket size, like little Nardole or something.
It's funny, Janet Fielding was like saying something on Twitter about the whole event, but the way she's talking, it's like on answering somebody. She's like, you know, she's traumatized. Her aunt's died. You know, like it's I'm like reading the back, and like she's talking about it like it was yesterday. You know, it's like, you know, it's a doctor's fault. Because him or aunt died, his battle with the master or something. I'm like, oh my god, you know, it's like.
Yeah, I loved in Legopolis when they walked up to the car and they were grilling the fourth doctor about like his whereabouts and everything, and they were asking him, you know, interrogating him sort of out there about things, and they kind of looked in over the car and there's like a couple of dolls there and shit.
Yeah, with the thing strangling them or something. That's funny. But I mean, the thing basically shaped it where, like, you know, true, like the tissue compression, but like, you know, making the head bigger than the body, or like the organs shrink, like the heart shrink to like a dot, or like, you know, really things exploding inside their body while they're just like changing the size of their organs or their arms or legs. And I mean, that could be pretty gross if they had a real it was like a real movie or something, you know. With the BBC though, we got a little, you know, rated G thing. It looks like a doll.
What was the consensus, by the way, with, I don't know who was on your previous 4 episodes, but what did they think? Who was on there?
We had Scott. We had Scott on one. Then it was Scott and Sally. Then it was Chris. Then it was Patrick and Daniel. Now Patrick came in, but he never saw the episode, so he couldn't really.
Right.
You know, I ended the show. I'm like, no, you know. Daniel loved it. He gave Pilot, Smile, and Thin Ice 10 out of 10s. All 3.
Okay. All right.
I'm like, all right.
Big fan.
10 out of 10, all of them. I'm like, okay. Scott and Sally gave it an 8 with me.
Yeah.
So they're all 8, like in that podcast. Chris gave it a 7.5. You know, and that's basically it. I mean, we got all good reactions to it mostly, with the exception of Patrick because he didn't see it. So we'd have to wait and see. But we got other reactions too because people are not available. So, you know, we'll get everybody else, you know, and see what they think.
Well, I will tell you, I talked to Vil on the phone yesterday.
Yeah.
And Vil said that he actually enjoyed Pilot and Smile.
Okay.
And thought that they were more reminiscent of the like classic Doctor Who, getting back to the formula that he liked. So,
oh. Okay. You thought Pilot was like the classic Doctor Who?
Well, I mean, we didn't really discuss a lot of it. I just that was what was said during the conversation we had. So I was like, oh, okay. I mean, but we know that he's not a big fan of Moffat. So,
well, not a lot of people are. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, he loves Capaldi. So, I mean, we all do. But he.
Listen, I love Capaldi. I mean, I think I have more merchandise with Capaldi than I have with. I'm not sure what I have more with, but Capaldi, I'm buying everything with Capaldi lately. You know, so. But anyway.
Better get it while the getting's good, because he's about to go.
I know. It's a sad thing, too.
And Capaldi, the sad thing, too, is his performance is only getting even better as it goes.
I know. That's what's driving me nuts, because I don't want him to go, not to be like quoting the 10th Doctor, but I don't really want him to go. I want him to stay for years, but these people... I guess fangirls or one of these people, they just like, get rid of it. One young Doctor. It's like, come on, man.
Well, the sad thing is, and we don't know like what's going to go on with Big Finish or whatever, like in the years to come. But I mean, this is reminiscent of Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, where it's like we get the last season, and there's so much potential there when you're seeing in the performance of the lead actor, and you're like, I'm afraid that this season's going to end where people not not like you or I, or people that are big fans of Capaldi, maybe that aren't the fangirl type people. They're going to go, oh, well, wow, like he really did a great job this season. I really would like to see another series or two with him, but yet a little bit too late because, he's gone. Just like Sylvester McCoy his last season, where it's like, like he really, the direction that they turned and changed.
Oh, I loved it in the end, what he did with him. Like, I was like pissed that they didn't do, more with Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, that first season was kind of rough.
It was, but it got better. Remember the Daleks and all that. I mean, that, it got better, a lot better. You know what Moffat should do? They should make it like this whole thing is a prank, and Capaldi doesn't regenerate Christmas, and then he's like, yeah, by the way, I'm doing series 11 because Chibnall's off a year, and you have Capaldi stay with Bill, and then maybe somebody else or whatever, and just, have another season.
Oh my God, the fan.
That would be fantastic. I would do that trick. Why not? Who cares? Maybe it could be a thing where you have the Christmas special, he doesn't regenerate, and then they throw some specials at you in like January, and you're like, whoa, you're not ready for it. Like maybe Capaldi, I would have it where if you can't have him as a full season, right? You do a thing like David Tennant, but in the same year you'll have series 11. So in other words, you would have 4 specials with Capaldi or 5. He regenerates in the 5th special, which is by, I would say, June. And then you have like 2 months off, and then in September you start series 11.
Well, no, the funny thing would be if he regenerated and it was like Chris Marshall or Connor's girlfriend, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, and then like the regeneration holds for about 30 seconds, and then it goes back to Capaldi, and he's like, no, I'm not done yet. He's like, no, it's not quite time.
I'm going to stay. Yeah, like he has total control of the regeneration, imagine.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't think so. I've still got more to do. And then they end it there for the next series. Yeah,
that'd be great.
I'd be in the floor rolling, cracking up, laughing.
I know.
Like Moffat's trolling the fan base.
Yeah.
Regeneration proper with a new Doctor, and he's like, no, screw you guys.
But you know what you could be explained to me. Remember how Romana was choosing faces?
Right.
And she's like, nah, I don't want this. And the doctor's like, nah, I don't like that. Change it. No, I don't like that. Change it. And
well, no, he could regenerate into Chris Marshall for about, like in the one where they had Rowan Atkinson and, they went through the comic relief. He could change into Chris Marshall, and then, like, that'll hold for, like, a minute or so. And then he'll change into the female, and he'll be like, are you bloody kidding me? Fuck this. No, I'm going to stay Capaldi.
Right. But it's still counted as a regeneration. See, Romana, too, that basically...
No, but that's okay, though. He's got unlimited now, right?
I mean, no, but when Romana did that, she only used 1 regeneration, didn't she?
Well, yeah, because there's an amount of time, right, where he can...
within the regeneration cycle.
Yeah, he's just never cared, really, necessarily, as we've seen.
To pay attention about that. He probably looked that up afterwards.
Like, he's not, like, looking in a mirror straight away and going, no, like, I think I could do a little bit better than this.
Yeah, because River... Like, she got shot in the stomach, and then she just regenerated the bones out of her stomach. And that's to kill Hitler. So it's like, it's within so many hours of the regeneration cycle. Just like David Tennant grew her hands. It was still within the last hour of his regeneration that he,
Yeah, that whole thing's still a little weird, too.
Yeah, but it's cool, though, because there's a lot of potential with that. Although, the one thing that don't make sense is how he can just give regeneration energy away to fix River's hand without regenerating completely. Like that, I don't know what that's about. Unless, you know what, they could always say that they could use a portion of regeneration energy to keep them young. Maybe that, you know, because River said something about she's gonna keep some regeneration energy to take the age down, which would make sense that, you know, she looks young in Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. So,
well, she's a woman. You know how vain they are about appearance and stuff. So,
who knows about time ladies, how they, you know.
They would use that extra regeneration energy for that, I'm sure. What about the talk of Clara being in the Christmas special?
He's saying adamantly that Clara is never coming back, which means that she'll be back Christmas time.
Okay, well, there you go.
Amy Pond's never coming back, and then she appeared in, you know, Time and the Doctor. So
Moffat loves.
He does. He does. And Karen Gillan's still talking about Doctor Who like she wants to come back. So I don't know why they keep mentioning it like that, but I don't know what capacity that could happen. If it could happen. I mean, again, people are like, oh, we're going forward. But, you know, you could do anything, Doctor Who. You could go backward a little bit. Why not? People are like, oh, you can't degenerate the Doctor. Why not? Like, where are their rules now? I mean, Moffat basically broke all the rules there is. So why couldn't you just like do something weird like that? Would you, you know, it's like, you could do anything. You could do anything. He could become a woman, he could degenerate. He could take the form of David Tennant but be a completely different personality. Like he could be Matt Smith with the beard and be like a real jerk. It'd be a different Doctor. You know, you don't know. So I don't know. I just hope that let's just stick with this season. And then we'll worry about the Christmas special later on.
Hypothetically, would you be for a previous regeneration revisited?
Absolutely.
For one series?
100 million%.
So like Tenet coming back?
I would be 100 million trillion quadruple percent.
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Absolutely.
All right. You didn't sound like you were.
I like, who said that to me? Like, if David Tennant came back, you would like stop buying all the T-shirts and go crazy. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you'd freaking flip out.
I would freak out. I would freak out.
Tenet fangirl.
Oh, nah. Even Matt Smith, if he came back for a season, I like that too, because they could do so much stuff to explain what Moffat couldn't explain.
What if they had like Tenet, but this version of Tennant's Doctor likes bow ties?
No, it is not. You don't bring him back to be like weird. No, I wouldn't do that. No. I would like to see Capaldi fight Mr. Clever. You know, Matt Smith, like villain. Yeah, that would be. Or I would like to see. I mean, they could do so much stuff. I mean, where David Tennant was like Tom Lord Victorious, that was amazing, like badass. You know? Same thing like Family of the Blood when he was pissed off. But that was the thing, like when he was pissed off, you saw it in his face, like with the Rachnos.
Yeah,
like she was done, and they even said that if Donna didn't step in, that universe would have been created where he would have just died because he was so focused on the rage of just killing that thing that he wouldn't even snap into reality to get out of there. So David Tennant, like when as a Doctor, the 10th Doctor, when he was pissed, he was the oncoming storm. You better, like, you know, that was no joke. It was like, oh, trap you behind a mirror and shit. I don't even know how he did that. So it was weird. So even Matt Smith, when he had the beard with Canton Delaware the third.
Yeah.
If you could build the greatest prison, whatever, it won't be enough. He was, oh crap! You imagine if another Doctor had a pair of balls like that? Shit! Like angry like that?
Well, I mean, we did have that with Capaldi and Deep Breath, but they kind of neutered him down a bit.
But Jesus, you imagine him like that? I would be like, holy shit. That would be incredible. if they would just had a, if he just, I don't know, man. Even if he revisited the face, but it was different personality like that, I would be for Matt Smith like that. He could be the, 13th Doctor, but he could be different. Like with the beard and oh my god, it'd be crazy.
I did like seeing in this episode the little log curmudgeons like trying to grab the sonic screwdriver, and I was expecting the Doctor to sort of want to blast the kid after he got the sonic back. Like, I'm going to show you little shit.
This is the problem that I have with sometimes when they write for him, right? Because Bill's looking at him and he's concerned with getting the sonic screwdriver. And he got it, but it's like, person just died, or the kid died, or whatever. It's like, oh my god, like, it didn't even say anything about it or nothing. It's like, I got the sonic screwdriver, hey. It's like, oh boy, that was weird scene,
And meanwhile, he's haphazardly leaving him out on his desk in his office at the school.
See, it's almost as if he's Time Lord senile. I think because he was joking about the guy Pete, and then he's like, what are you talking about? I mean, like, it could be he's Time Lord senile. I mean, maybe he just,
He get dementia?
I mean, maybe in this incarnation. I don't know, man. But definitely I see to me, you can't have him go without fixing this Clara thing. That bothers me, man. You know that. I can't have it like that, and the universe will get destroyed if they don't put her back the way it is. Because then every adventure that he had wouldn't exist. Because he saw her die. So if she doesn't die, then he's still the Doctor. Like, things are going to be paradox, So she's got to be put back to face the Raven. That's basically, and from what Moffat said at these conventions, her and Ashilda are in serious trouble. The universe is in serious trouble. Because they don't know how to fly the thing, regardless of the manual. They can't speak Gallifreyan, so they're screwing things up. And they're banging into things. They're causing problems. And, Well,
what was the thing about him materializing the TARDIS on the lower level down by the river and then having to rematerialize higher up?
I thought it was just a thing that he tried to get away with the TARDIS, and the TARDIS said no. And he just said, oh, yeah, I just have to park it in a different spot. I think he lied. I think that he realized that he can't leave. The TARDIS wanted him to fix this thing. See, the TARDIS is starting to be like the Omni from Voyagers. Remember the Omni from Voyagers?
I remember the show. Like,
there was a device called the Omni.
Right.
And there was the people in the future of Earth, they were called Voyagers. They had a manual, and what they would do is they would travel through time with this thing called the Omni. And when the Omni is red, that means the history went wrong. So they couldn't leave the time period until they fixed it. And when they fixed it, the Omni was green light, so they were able to travel out of there. So it's like the TARDIS is like the Omni, where the TARDIS is like, no, you can't leave until this is done. Sort of like Pyramids of Mars, right? Where Sarah's like, let's just go into the future and let's leave this guy, leave this thing. We don't. So he's like, you want to see what's going to happen? And from that point in time, he traveled to the future, and Sutekh took over the world or whatever. He's like, see what happened? This is what's going to happen. If from this point in time we travel and we don't take care of this problem, this guy's going to take over the Earth.
Then it became Pyramid of Mars.
Right. Because he decided, I just want one pyramid, not like all these pyramids. Right. So anyway, he went back in time and fixed it. But it's just it's just a thing. So that's why the TARDIS wouldn't let it go, take off.
Well, I will actually say I'm more excited seeing this episode now about moving ahead.
Yeah.
Which is what I was hoping. And what I expected is that it was going to get better. But I'll have to go back and revisit the whole series once we get to the end.
Yeah, no.
There may be like direct reasons why we had sort of episodes to. I think there's a real purpose that they want you to identify with Bill and Bill's relationship with the Doctor in these earlier episodes, because it's something that's going to transpire throughout the series, where it's going to be more effective and emotional with what happens possibly with Bill at the end of the series.
I do want to address something else too that
Yeah.
I don't know if people are really addressing, but I find that all this information of Doctor Who that's getting leaked, right, to the Mirror and to all this stuff, I think it's the BBC, to tell you the truth, because I feel that they wanted to announce who the 13th Doctor is, and Moffat didn't want it, and I think that they just tried to spoil the season. That's what I feel, and I still feel this way because today, supposedly there was a mistake, and everybody got to see Doctor Who early on iTunes, and it was like real early. It was like before. So in other words, everybody saw it on iTunes, and then when it came time to be aired, the ratings probably dropped because they saw it already. So I'm thinking that this stuff is deliberate. I think that the BBC are just sabotaging the season. They paid for it already. They don't care. As Moffat's last season, it's kind of getting like going to have the shittiest ratings ever. And I do feel that this is going to happen again with the episodes being leaked, or maybe even worse. Maybe they'll leak the whole season if somebody buys it like they did before, where you can buy it on Amazon, and when it gets shipped early, and you see the whole damn thing. I have a feeling this is going to happen again before the season's over. So, if my theory is correct, you'll find out. If it's not, then of course it won't happen. But
so, is the Mysterio will be on this series box set?
I believe so. I mean, I think it got a separate DVD, but
yeah, at the time. But I mean, like,
yeah, I think so.
But then, was the previous Christmas, was that on the previous series?
Because there was no season.
Yeah, but there was still a Christmas episode, though.
But the Christmas episode was the Christmas was with the new season of the last season of Clara, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to remember if it was the Dream Crabs. Was that the previous?
That
series?
It was last Christmas, and then Series 9, and then Husbands of River Song. It was like nothingness. Husbands of River Song, and then it was just the Dark Mysterio. So
okay, yeah, the Husbands episode was the one I was missing.
Was just one episode,
right?
The whole, thing. Right? Am I right about that? So.
It's been so long now.
I'm trying to think. Heaven Sent, Hell Bent, right?
Yeah.
Husbands of River Song, and then Dr. Mysterio.
Was the first
Christmas special the Christmas special, right? That's right.
Was the first Christmas one with Capaldi, the Santa Claus?
Yes.
Okay.
Right? Time and the Doctor. Well, he appeared in Time and the Doctor at the end, which was Matt Smith's. Wasn't really. I mean, it was a Christmas special, not really, kind of thing. Time and the Doctor was like a Christmas special, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it was the Christmas special, and he regenerated into Peter Capaldi. Then you had Deep Breath, then you had all that shit. Missy and the friggin' Cybermen, and then you had the friggin' Last Christmas. Right.
So the Santa Christmas episode was first, then the Dream Crabs, and then the Husbands of River Song.
No, Santa Christmas was the Dream Crabs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Man, Moffat's got me all fucked up.
Exactly. Last Christmas, Husbands of River Song, and whatever this one is. So it'll be 3 seasons, 3 Christmas specials for Capaldi.
That makes sense. All right.
Whatever, yeah. Yeah, I think. Right? Well, Time and the Doctor probably was with Deep Breath, right? Because it was like the Christmas special, and then with that box set, right? Yeah. So then that was with Series 8, and Series 9 was Last Christmas, right? Okay. We're getting a little confused.
So then this one will have 2 Christmas specials.
No. Well, one of the Christmas specials was just by itself because there was no season.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm saying, but I'm saying though, are they going to stiff the consumer and not include that in a box set?
Right, because there's no season with it. So
yeah, I know.
Husbands of River Song, I think wasn't Husbands of River Song just by itself?
Yeah, but I mean, couldn't they put that in with?
No.
Okay. Well, that was my question.
No.
Because usually they include. I mean, I understand there was no series for that Christmas.
Because they don't want to. They don't want to give you this. They want to give you an extra episode and then not charge you for it. Because God forbid they give you an extra episode and charge you the same thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, God, they would almost be like
that'd be sacrilege, right? I mean, oh my God, it's not like we had 14 episodes with any other showrunner, although we did. We had 13 plus Christmas special, but anyway.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to fuck the fan and give them maybe a whole year without Doctor Who and just toss in a freebie for them,
Right. You know what's funny too? We didn't get any minisodes anymore after a while. Remember that? We get extra shit. I'm like, oh yeah. Now he's like, oh hell no. You ain't got no minisodes no more. It's like, whoa, what the hell was that? Nothing. It's just, how do you just switch it like that? It's weird, right? No minisodes, no nothing. It's like, oh. I guess I went out with Matt Smith, I guess. That was just a Matt Smith thing, minisodes and everything.
The funny thing is, if Chibnall turns out to be a real douche.
Oh, God.
And everyone misses Moffat.
Oh, God, you imagine? You know what I was thinking? It was so weird, but remember I told you, like, when the kids were little, we had, like, John Sim on a cake?
No.
And I never showed you pictures?
No.
We loved John Sim's master so much.
Yeah.
That the kids wanted him on the birthday cake as the master. So we had one cake with just him holding his laser screwdriver, then another cake with him and Tennant.
Yeah.
So like we had like 2 cakes with John Sim's master on it. And we had tons of David Tennant cakes. We had David Tennant with Rose, David Tennant with Donna. It was like the cake was like, of course, extra had to be the big cake for the image. A lot of money, but the kids wanted it. They got.
Well, I mean, speaking of which, I mean, what do Anthony and Joe Jr. think of the series so far?
Joe likes the season so far. Anthony is waiting for Capaldi to regenerate. Like Anthony just won't get into it, and it's just like, no, I'm not into it. And I'm like, oh my God. So Joe was just about done too, but then he got into it. I think Anthony will get into it too. I think Anthony just.
Who's their favorite actor?
David Tennant, Matt Smith. That's basically.
Did they like the classic series or Tom Baker?
Well, I got them because they were young. They were really young. So I didn't want to overwhelm them with like Key to Time and all kinds of stuff with Tom Baker. So I was like, they were just Battlefield. That's what I got them started on with Sylvester McCoy. And then I introduced a little bit Remembrance of the Daleks, so Nemesis, stuff like that. So they had a little bit of that. And then when Doctor Who came back, they loved Chris Eccleston. They loved him. And Joe was really upset when he, because he didn't know, he didn't know about regenerations really. So it was like for the first time for him too, So when he saw that, it was like amazing to him. Like he just.
I'm kind of curious if we had actually another season or 2 of Eccleston, if Tennant would be as much loved as he is in the pecking order of like New Who, because I know Tennant's a good doctor. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like they had a taste of like, well, Who's back, but like. Tennant's a proper doctor because he was around for longer than 1 series.
Right. Even if Christopher Eccleston would have had another season, I think people still would have liked Tennant better. Look how much I'm sure they broke records when he did the audios with Catherine T. that people were going crazy over that he just did that. I mean, they literally went nuts.
Well, so what was your favorite? What was your favorite Tennant era? Was it with Rose, Martha, or Donna?
See, I don't like to. I like it with all. See, my thing was I really liked him and Rose together, and then I really liked Martha. I mean, I liked Kylie Minogue with him too. If she would have been, see, originally they did a picture with Kylie Minogue next to a Dalek, and they were like, oh, maybe she's gonna. It looked like she was gonna be the companion, but then I think things changed, and then they got Catherine Tate, you know, so it was like a weird thing, but she was like she almost became a full-time companion, Kylie Minogue. So because I remember buying that issue, and they're like, you know, she took a picture in this gold dress next to a Dalek or something. So, but yeah, I love Donna. I mean, I you know what it was? David Tennant had a variety of companions, and it was different every time. And the show was so filled with life when it was with Rose, when it was with Martha, when it was with Donna. And that's what it is. It's like, you know, if Capaldi just stays and just had different companions, it would be like amazing too. And just, you know, it's amazing now. I mean, that, you know, we're catching on with Bill, but it's like so good that he has his own companions rather than just Clara, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's what it is. It's, you know, I mean, I loved it where David Tennant had all these different companions, and they culminated it when they're all in the TARDIS at the same time. Like, that was like, I liked that when Tom Baker had all of them with him. Like, he had Tegan, Adric, Nyssa, and then they became the Fifth Doctor's companion, you know? Companions. I liked a lot of people in the TARDIS, like back then. But then we never really got that after Peter Davison. So, like, seeing David Tennant getting a lot of companions like the Fourth Doctor did, you know, at different times, and then all of them in the TARDIS together, that was like an amazing thing to me. I loved it. You know, and I did love that we had potential companions that he could have had seasons with. He could have had seasons with Astrid Perth. He could have had seasons with Lady Christina Del Souza, which Russell T. Davies had hinted that if there wasn't going to be specials, that she was the companion, and that maybe she was Romana. Maybe that's what they were talking about, that, you know, they were great together in the past, meaning that she was affected by the chameleon arch and she didn't remember. You know, maybe that was what it was or something. So I would have really, you know, it was always about, they made the show great with David Tennant, like perfect.
Well, they could have had Osgood be a companion for like a series too.
I mean, they could have had Noah Capaldi, but for whatever stupid reason, they didn't do that. And I think the purpose with her would have been like her finding herself. I mean, there was a whole bunch of things about when she was first introduced, that she had a sister that was like a beautiful supermodel or something, and that she felt like she was the ugly one, that they never really, you know,
well, the whole thing with that too, which would have been interesting, would be like, especially with Capaldi's temperament at the time, like in Deep Breath, if he would have like had her as a companion, with her hero worshipping the Doctor as she
he would have got pissed about that.
Yeah, he would have been like, you know, like, well, you know, what's wrong with you, girl?
But I mean, why I would have thought it would have been great, because she would have had to become her own style.
Yeah,
and that would have worked out perfect.
Yeah, and she could have won him over, like, and could have there could have been a great story arc there about her finding her own identity and leaving the Doctor of her own accord, and just saying, you know, you've helped me discover my identity and myself, and just kind of walking away from him in a good way, but just saying, you know, that could have been a great story arc, is her finding her own identity and realizing, you know, the Doctor's somebody that she could have looked up to, but she doesn't necessarily need to emulate, because obviously she's dressing like the Doctor. She's trying to be the Doctor in essence because of an identity conflict. That would have been great for her to just kind of come into her own and kind of like Martha, just go, you know, I had a great time. It's been fun.
Didn't Harry Sullivan just left?
I know, yeah.
Harry didn't even have an ending to leave. He just, I gotta just be a doctor and, you know, do my thing with UNIT or whatever. It was like, off air or something.
All
And
right.
you're like, what the fuck happened? You know, it's like.
All right, Harry, take care, buddy. Bye.
It's like you just didn't even say it. It wasn't even a goodbye. It was like, yeah, I'm just, I'm not there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suck.
Yeah.
Nobody shed a tear. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He's battling Santarans. He's battling freaking space station creatures. Like whatever. It's like, come on, man.
Oh, come on, Harry. Please tell me you're not going to go and leave me and Sarah alone.
Please don't go, Harry. No, it was just like, didn't even.
We really are having too much of a good time with you as the third wheel, Harry. Please.
They didn't even have a beginning for Mel's, and they didn't even have an ending for Harry. That's like the biggest joke. I mean, he played a different part in a different character in John Pertwee's episode.
Yeah,
yeah, and then he showed up later as a companion, which.
Harry, I liked Harry though for what he did.
I did too. But did he get fired or something? And they just never. I mean, they never show what happened, or it's like.
I loved an arc in space when he lost his shoe and he's like just running around through that whole episode.
Yeah. That was pretty cool, and then that whole thing was filmed outside with the Centaur. It wasn't even like it was the first episode ever. Everything was outside. It was great. So, poor Harry. He got screwed.
Yeah.
Honestly, did he really get fired in real life, or was it like?
I don't know what the story was with Harry. Ian Marter.
And he didn't show up later on either, right? Like just in an episode? No, right?
Well, he showed up in. Wasn't he in Android Invasion?
Yeah, he was just there, right? Just like not a companion, but just
he was an
unit.
Yeah, I mean, you found out.
Unit.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That was just a weird situation, but they're probably like, yeah, we don't. He's kind of getting in the way, so.
Yeah. Whatever happened to the unit scientist that was? I forget the guy's name.
Who?
The one that was in the episode with it was one of Tennant's movies, the season where it was like the movies.
Oh, Magumbo and the guy.
Yeah, but it was a male unit scientist. It was in the one with
Magumbo. It was Planet of the Dead with Lady Christina Del Souza with the bus.
Yeah, that's it. At the end of the episode, he was in the back of the unit van, and he was talking about how he was a big fan of the Doctor and all that. And
yes, he was. Yeah,
like he's gone. Like, look what happened to that guy.
And Magumbo appeared again. No, well, she appeared in Turn Left, right? And then she appeared in the special with the Planet of the Dead. Yeah. Magumbo.
I
remember that was her name. She was cool. Right. Liz Shaw just left. I guess pursued her career somewhere, and then he just got. I remember he didn't want Jo Grant as a companion. He didn't want her to be his assistant. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was kind of like cross with her. She's, but then he loved her. Then he just, he fell for her. Like, I mean, he was drinking when she left in the Green Death. Remember that? He was like drinking. I think he even cried, right?
Well, I remember that. I think
he cried. I think he cried or he drank, and he was like, "Oh shit!"
They had the tear shed at the very end of the episode.
Yeah, that was powerful,
right?
Shit. I remember seeing it. And I'm like, "Oh shit!" Like I was a kid.
Yeah, and especially Pertwee. I mean, Pertwee's like a badass. It's like, what's he doing? Yeah. Like, come on.
Like, why is that? I didn't understand because I don't know what the hell love.
Maybe he was crying. Maybe he's crying because he realized she was marrying that hippie doctor, and he knows how hippies
are. That was it. Is the guy? He was jealous because that guy was everything that he was. I guess smart, but he was young, and he's like, "Who this guy?"
Yeah, because we know that the chick wouldn't like pick the Time Lord that she could travel anywhere in time in the past and future over this.
But, she saw this guy, and then like the doctor was invisible. And it was just like she's like kissing him, and he's like,
"Yeah." The doctor should have just curved her ass and just been like, "All right, honey, I can take you anywhere. I can take you anywhere in space and time, anywhere in the universe. But you're gonna marry this boring fucking professor."
That was like the first instance of a broken heart with him.
Broken heart.
He was broken hearts. He was hurt. Yeah. So that's why when he's with Sarah Jane and the spider, like he's like, oh, that shit's over. Oh, it's regenerated. Screw it. It's like.
Yeah, but that does put things in context that he's not the first. Like Tenet. We know that Tenet was upset about Rose, right? But it's interesting that they had Pertwee was sad about Joe Grant, but then Tom Baker just kind of blew off Sarah Jane, like, well, got to go, bye.
But when you saw he regenerated, like Peter Davison, not Peter Davison, well, no, from Peter Davison's doctor, you found out that Tom Baker's doctor missed Romana, like greatly.
It sounds like the doctor's kind of like a pimp, It's like he's.
But then with David Tennant's doctor, you found out that he did have feelings for Sarah Jane also.
Well, yeah, he just. He's got a lot of ladies out there, I guess.
It's in his diary that we want to look at because.
Yeah, we need to crack that book open and see what's in there. I'm sure there's some interesting entries in those diaries.
It's so crazy that the two people in the whole entire universe that know his name, I'm sorry, 3, is friggin' River, Clara, and Missy. Are the only 3 that know his name. Well, maybe Missy doesn't know his name, but then again, that's weird. She would have to know his name, right? The Master, yeah.
Well, but he was upset that Perry left when he thought that she died and everything, right?
He wasn't upset. Colin Baker's doctor?
Well, I thought he said you killed Perry. Like he sounded really genuine.
No, when the Time Lords went, well, he was upset then, but the thing that didn't make any sense was when the Time Lords showed that she was with this fat, overgrown Viking from Flash Gordon, and she's like, her face was angry. He's like, all right, that's nice. Like he didn't even go to check and see if that was real, if they were lying to him.
He's like, you settled for that, Perry?
I mean, she could have just gave birth to Madame Gravarian, and that's what started the whole thing. But I mean, honestly, it was like, you didn't even check your companion and see if she was alright. Like, really, that was kind of cool.
Well, and I loved when Tegan left. He seemed mildly disappointed, but then he was
she left twice.
Well, no, I'm saying the second time, the real time she left. And it's like, well, I forget what he said to Turlough, but he's like, well, Tegan's gone, so let's fuck off and go to the next episode.
Well, he was just, what it was, the past couple episodes that she was in. Like, everybody was freaking dying. I mean, it was like the Sea Devils, the Santaras, and it's like, he was kind of like, he won, but did he really win? Because everybody's, dead?
I thought it would have been great if...
screw this.
I thought it would have been great if, the Fifth Doctor, after Tegan ran off after Resurrection of the Daleks, and he entered the TARDIS with Turlough and just was he's like, shit, can you believe we finally got rid of her now? I mean, she became a nag, let's get rid of her. I didn't think she'd ever leave.
But you made it look like he had feelings for her too. That he was hurt.
Well, he had to keep up appearances,
I know. Then Turlough scored. Bringing someone to the TARDIS, that was pretty funny. But
the next episode, Turlough fishes Perry out of the ocean, and
he just comes in. What the hell? Who's that?
I know you shit on Turlough, but I actually thought, and you may goof on me with this, but maybe it's nostalgia because I remember watching this when I was a kid. But I remember watching Planet of Fire and actually thinking that it was a really interesting, different, neat sort of dialogue and what happened and transpired with Turlough leaving, and the arc of that character going from trying to kill the Doctor to actually telling the Doctor I'm sorry to go, and the Doctor's kind of like kind of an older brother to a younger brother, kind of better to go back when you're a bit of a hero, and I thought that was actually kind of a cool, poignant sort of scene.
I was really grateful when he left because I was like, you have to understand, I was a kid, we were kids, so. To me, when he kept dealing with the Black Guardian, what a scumbag. I probably know what scumbag meant, but I was like, what a jerk. Whatever, right? And Mordred Undead and all that shit. He was kind of being like a fucking sneak. I just wanted to fucking smack him, and it was like, after all that shit's over, you still scumbag. I was just like, no, man. You got that title now, man. I don't care if you bring in Perry from the beach. I don't care.
Turlough, I think Turlough gets a lot of crap. I think his character story arc ended well. I think he ended on a really poignant note with the Fifth Doctor.
Nobody liked him. Did Tegan? Come
Yeah,
on.
but I mean, like you could be at a job or be involved with like somebody that you don't like, and you end up going, like they're familial to you, and you've been through so much.
He was like the Adam of the New Who, but he just lingered around a little more than is welcome.
Adam was a bit of a douche, but I mean, Turlough actually had a change in his. You actually saw a development of that character.
Yeah, but it was too little too late. He's gone already. It's like, whatever.
I actually gave more of a shit about Turlough leaving than like Tegan or Nyssa, actually.
Well, see, that was the thing that I was pissed too, because I was like, oh my God, now she has this incurable disease. How the fuck do you leave her on that fucking derelict thing, and she's going to use her intelligence to cure herself somehow? What if she don't cure herself? What if she dies? I was like, what the fuck? Why is this happening?
Write it. Okay, goodbye. Good luck to you. Bye.
No, but I was like, he had these companions, which was kind of like Tom Baker's companions, even though whatever, unofficial. And it's like Adric died. I was upset about that. I was like, oh fuck, that was just crazy.
Are you fucking kidding me? You were upset about?
I was upset. I was a little upset. Yeah, I was like, shit, because it was cool having all of them together.
I thought at the end, it'd be more appropriate instead of like having silence run at the end credits. I thought they were going to have like a laugh track where they had. Like,
I thought that him and Nyssa, they were like, and then here comes Tegan in, and it's like, all right, But I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, that sucked that happened. But I mean, we started seeing them all leave in bad situations. I'm like, oh, poor Peter Davison's era got all screwed up with everybody leaving. It was like weird. Like the way they were leaving was bad notes.
The one thing I think you would agree with would be, I think it would have been really, really cool, and we'll never see this, we'll never get it because of circumstances that'll make themselves known when I say this, but I think it would have been really, really, really cool if you had the Doctor for like a season actually travel with Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. I think.
Oh God, I would. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't understand this, but the Seventh Doctor saw him die because he said it in Battlefield. Because when he thought that the Brigadier was dead on the floor, he's like, you're supposed to die in bed. You're like an old man. You're supposed to be. This is not how you die. You're supposed to be dead in bed. He actually saw him die. And I guess he must have forgot because when he was Matt Smith's Doctor and he went to call the Brigadier, he was dead already. So the Seventh Doctor saw him die. If you don't remember the episode of Battlefield, he did see him die.
Yeah.
So, but that was revealed, So it would have been nice to see. Yeah. The brief thing we saw with we saw Colin Baker with that stupid Dimensions in Time.
Yeah.
We was with the Brigadier for like seconds.
But there was a good rapport between Baker and Nicholas Courtney in that brief period in that Dimensions in Time. I thought it was going to actually, because like the Brigadier's like the staunch military sort of guy, and Colin Baker had like this over-the-top personality and flamboyant and whatever. It would have been interesting to see that.
That would have been that would have been a season to do with the Sixth Doctor. That would have worked. Been on Earth.
Yeah, because they could have done something where like the Doctor was taking the Brigadier somewhere, and like that could have been like the season was like he just got stuck with the Doctor for like just that season.
Yeah,
it would have made sense. And the Brigadier.
Well, it could have been reversed. It could have been that the Brigadier had to go with the Doctor in the TARDIS, traveling around for some reason, rather than maybe he got inflicted with some type of virus, and the only way to cure him was to search the universe, but he had to have him with them.
Yeah, but I'm talking about off Earth, not like per year.
That's what I'm saying. They take the Brigadier off Earth.
Yeah, and that would have been cool because like you could have had like think of the great dialogue you could have had where the Brigadier was like, your third incarnation was nowhere near the pain in the ass that you are as your sixth incarnation.
Right. And
even Colin Baker would have been like, oh, come on, give me a break, and blah, blah, blah. You could have had these situations where like they were going up against the Daleks and, they have such a history together of fighting these creatures and stuff. It would have been interesting seeing the Brigadier's military sort of standpoint contrasted with like Colin Baker's, flamboyancy
and physical
Yeah,
Get
because he's a
into
totally
that.
different doctor than Pertwee's third
Oh, he
doctor.
definitely got. Yeah, I know.
So the whole thing could have been too that the Nicholas Courtney's, because he's never really had to. He's always been on Earth with the Doctor primarily, with all these things. So with him getting stuck in the TARDIS with the Doctor, it would have been almost like the Odd Couple in a weird way, where it was like
You could have had him with the Eighth Doctor. You could have had a thing where the Eighth Doctor, like like he could have appeared in the episode the Brigadier. That would have worked too.
he seemed more of like a introspective sort of doctor, a little bit quieter. I mean, Colin Baker was like really like the over the top personality that would have been interesting to see with the Brigadier's like compartmentalized military sort of very staunch, stiff upper lip sort of personality, contrasted with like Colin Baker, who's just like over the top out there, like, flamboyantly throwing open the door of the TARDIS whenever they landed on a new planet.
We always got teased with the 10th Doctor being with the Brigadier, and it never happened. It was always like teased, like, where's the Brigadier? The Brigadier's here. It's like, oh. A 9th Doctor would have worked well with the Brigadier too.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it sucks for Capaldi. He passed away, and it's like they make him into a Cyberman, but I guess the family said that was cool.
Or actually, the Brigadier with Capaldi's Doctor, because he could have been making like some sly references to Pertwee and saying, you kind of remind me of like your third incarnation. Wink, wink, hint,
Right.
hint.
Yeah.
And then even for one episode, they could have brought Bessie back out with the Brigadier and Capaldi's Doctor. Well, actually, he died though before the Brigadier.
Maybe they'll bring Bessie back for the Christmas special.
Maybe that's Bessie knocking on the vault door.
So what's funny? When I saw Kate, right, she said she has 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Immediately, I thought one of the daughters was Osgood, because Osgood had a sister. So I'm like, well, who the hell are the 2 daughters? And how old are they? But I mean, it would have been cool if there was a son or a grandson or something that when we see the new Doctor, like let's say the 13th Doctor, the grandson takes over unit, takes over for like the military role, that would have been cool. But I don't know. All right, dude. This was a good cast, as always.
Yes.
All right. On that note, thank you guys. Take care. Bye for now.